Hello, welcome to the National Parents Union Nightly Restorative Check-in. I am your host, Marisol Quevedo Rerucha. I am the mother of Camerina, Emilia, and Sofia. I am the daughter of Irma Navran. I'm the grandmother to Isabela Luna and Cintia Iliana, and I'm the granddaughter to Camerina, Alejandro, Francisco, and Carmen. I am born and raised in San Diego, California, and this is where I continue to live with my family. I'm also the wife to Daniel. We've been married, it'll be 20 years next year. And it is always an honor to be with you. I want to always just thank you for that moment to introduce myself. And I hope you know some people when they come on, some of my guests, or I've heard people say that they really appreciate and they feel connected to that introduction. And I encourage you, if that's something that speaks to your heart, to remember, every room that you walk into, it's okay to take that moment and ask for that time from people to introduce yourself in that way, because we don't just represent ourselves. We represent the people who have poured love, who have poured challenge, who have poured everything into us. And so it's okay and it's important to call on them and to just acknowledge that the work that you do, the voice that you use, it doesn't solely belong to you. And I hope that you were able to join us last night for our special edition. It was a really beautiful evening. The guests that we had on spoke from their heart, and I left last night feeling inspired, feeling hopeful, and honestly feeling charged up. What we have ahead of us with this election, whichever way it is that you voted, we are a country divided. And we are a country divided on issues that we see as issues of value. And I think, respect is something that we've earned. And respect is something that I think that, both sides of this big divide feel that the other side doesn't acknowledge or hasn't earned. And I want to remind us of the concept of dignity. Dignity is what we are born with. It is our inherent worth as human beings, regardless of how you vote or whether you do, whether you don't, where you were raised, anything. Dignity is something that all of us have and all of us deserve to be recognized. And it's something that we have because it is what we are born with. So I was just thinking about that today with everything that the great divide really that's happened in this country. And I just am wondering around what would happen if we really started to honor each other's dignity and treat ourselves, walk in this world, honoring our own dignity and recognizing that in others as we sit down to have these really difficult conversations about policies that are really rooted in our beliefs. And I believe that we can find a way to another, because we all know that this life, this work, this being is about relationships. And we need to start building some bridges. So with that, let's get into our breathing technique, 4-7-8. So we inhale for 4 seconds, we hold for 7, and we release for 8. So, and we do that 4 times. I'll go ahead and guide us. So please put your feet gently on the ground. And if you want to put your hands on your lap or close your eyes, and just go ahead and take a deep breath in, release, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Thank you. I encourage you to use that technique. Today we had a training with NPU. So one of the benefits of NPU membership is actually the training's happening right now. And the training is on how to provide peer-to-peer support in a culturally competent, trauma-informed way. And I introduced the training, and then I had us, before we went into it, do the breathing technique, because it really helps us in transitioning from activity to activity. And I think helps, calm us and get us focused and present on the moment. So I encourage you in your work. I encourage you as a leader to do this with your staff. I encourage, if you are a leader in the classroom, to do this with your students. And this is a great technique to use if you are really stressed, you need to relax. Also, if you're having a hard time sleeping or going to sleep, or you wake up, really, really great technique. There's lots of different breathing techniques, but this is the one that is our tried and true. So one more announcement that I wanted to make is, as a reminder, tomorrow is our NPU town hall. If you have not yet registered, please go to the nationalparentsunion.com site and register for the town hall. It's going to be really amazing. I think we're only going to be on for an hour, but we're going to be releasing the results of our poll. We're going to have a panel, and we have an amazing poem by Miss Bernita Bradley, who spoke last night. And then we also are going to be announcing the grantees who are going to be awarded the micro school pod grants at the end. So please make sure that you join us tomorrow. And remember that the National Parents Union is for you. And so with that, I'm going to bring on our guest. And I'm super excited. So I'm going to do a little quick intro because, okay, you have kids in your life, and there's some kids, when they're born, they're all beautiful and they're all precious. But there's some people that have a light. They have this magnetic light that people respond to. And that's what this person has. And so I honestly don't even know the last time that I saw them. Was definitely before, or maybe when they graduated from high school. So we'll find out how long that's been. But this person, their light has been so strong since they were a ninth grade student in my class. That among other students, the hundreds of kids, thousands of kids that I've had the fortune to be in learning space with, he is one that has absolutely stayed with me. So I was really, really honored that he agreed to come on the show. So this is the first time that we've spoken since he was a teenager. So let me bring him in. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so I don't hear you.
Oh,
we were not able to do our sound check. Check your sound.
Let me see. You still can't hear me?
So yeah, I don't hear you. If it's not working, you can always go out and then come back in.
Okay.
And I'll just keep talking.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear you. So let me see. I see that you're in. Let me check the comments.
Can you hear me?
Carlene. Hi, Yoli. I don't hear you, Rick. So do you want to try going out? So just exit, leave StreamYard, and then come back in. Okay, so as he's doing that, I know I at least have my Yolis watching and Carlene are watching. So we'll get him back in. Hopefully his sound will be working. I'm so excited to talk to him. He is a grown man. So I'll just give you a little bit more on him. So Rick, so I knew him as Ricky. And here he comes.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
No, your sound's not working.
Oh, no.
Let me check. So I don't think, did you do the check when you came into StreamYard? And it was sounding fine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My aunt says she hears you.
Oh.
So maybe it's me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go out and come back in. So you're going to be in here. You're going to be in here. I think, let me see if I can do that. Let me see. Okay. Just go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing. Let's see.
Okay, I can hear now.
You can hear me now?
Oh, yes, I hear your
Okay,
voice.
good. What I was thinking is you probably muted me like you used to do when I was in your class or something. So, you know,
Never, 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 never. I don't remember that.
yeah.
Okay, please tell us. So what I have my guests do is introduce themselves. So please tell us about you, who
Yeah.
you are, what you do. You can share anything that you want about your passions, your greatest loves, challenges that you might be having, your work, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, my name is Rick Garcia. I'm from San Diego, California, born and raised. Went to Montgomery High School, where I know Miss Quevedo Rerucha. Um, and we met when I was in ninth grade, and spent some time together in class. And she was, one of the teachers that always just seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself at a point in my life where I was kind of acting out and trying to be the cool kid in school, and not knowing that I had a leadership trait where people kind of followed what I did. So when I was bad, other people was bad. When I was good, other people wanted to be good. So she really helped me learn that about myself, along with a few other teachers that I really look up to. While in high school, we I got into a kind of a bad car accident where I wasn't really allowed to play sports anymore. So my junior year of high school, met a good friend of mine's mother who was working in hotels, and from that point, I kind of started working. Very young, I couldn't play sports anymore, and at the time, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and my father, was a 20 plus year mechanic that was laid off. It was kind of during the time of the recession barely started rolling in, and people were being affected by that. So I had to start working and start helping in my family. And my friend's mom kind of said I was kind of just being funny at a game one time, and just told me, "Hey kid, I like your attitude. I like your personality. You want to come work for me?" I said, "Sure, why not? I need a job." And thinking, and to me, I mean, $7 an hour was like, oh my goodness, I'm not making 6.25. I'm making $7 an hour, and was just so excited to go to work. And worked a few days a week at the Sheraton in Mission Valley here in San Diego. And from there, I just realized that my gift is talking to people and helping people, and it just kind of came natural to me. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life. I decided to make a career choice to transition into hospitality and hotels, and I became a general manager at the age of 22 of my first property. From there, I just I always wanted to learn more and know how to get to that next step, and what could I do to be better. And so I always ask the question of what else can I do. I'm doing my job, but what else can I do? And if I can't, how do I get there? And the reason, the kind of funny story why I go by Rick, everybody knows me as Ricky Garcia, and people kind of like, do I call you Rick or do I call you Ricky? It's kind of funny, but I love hearing people call me Ricky because it kind of brings me back to like that home feeling. But a GM that I worked for told me, hey man, if you want to move up, we're gonna have to change your name from Ricky to Rick. Nobody's gonna take Ricky serious. And that's when I decided to go by Rick. And it's kind of funny because my career kind of launched after that. And I don't know if it was subconsciously me also taking myself seriously, but I really took the hospitality industry, took over my first property at the age of 22. I told every GM or executive that I met, hey, if you ever need help anywhere in the United States, let me know. By doing that, they kind of just love to see that passion and fire in a young kid. And again, I didn't have no ties, no kids, no relationship at the time. And I was able to travel to Baltimore. I went to I moved to Anchorage, Alaska to run and open hotels up there. I moved to LA, Orange County to run a Marriott hotel there. So I had to leave home for about 8 years to really launch my career in the path that I was wanting it to go. And after 8 long years and not having good Mexican food or my mom's carne con chile, I decided to move back to Chula Vista, where I opened 2 hotels in Eastlake, and did very, very well. And COVID hit, and as most of this, I'm not even going to say nation, as most of the world, we didn't have an easy time finding more work. So I had to create that, that extra source of income. So I decided to start my own business of RV travel and RV rental. That is my personal RV, but I kind of turned it into my own little Airbnb style of RV, where you're able to rent off the owner and take it on your trip. And did that all of COVID. I mean, for 6 months, that was the first time I haven't been employed since I was 15 years old. And it was hard. Thankfully, my wife and I had some money saved. And people always told me, don't ever live with your savings less than 2 months of income. I mean, 2 months of bills. And I was always kind of, like, yeah, we'll be fine, but never thought something like this would affect us the way it did. So thankfully, my wife does live like that. She's a little better with the money than I am, and had some money saved for us. Unfortunately, it was kind of aimed towards our honeymoon because we just got married last year, but we were able to use it to obviously pay the bills. We were able to keep food on the table, the lights on, just staying home and staying healthy and staying safe. And yeah, now today I was able to take a position as an area director of finance. I've been a general manager in the hospitality industry for 8 years, and now transition into an area director of finance, where I'm not in the operation side of the hotels, but now I'm operating operating and managing about $50 to $60 million in revenue and finances. So that's where I am today. And my passion again is just helping people. I think this pandemic has really showed me that that's my niche. That's my thing. That helping people and servicing people. And even though I'm making money on this RV rental business, I'm still able to service them and give them an experience that they couldn't get anywhere else because of the travel ban and not being able to go anywhere. And right now, I mean, the safest way of travel is by car, unfortunately. Fortunate for me, but unfortunately for the airlines and the big companies, we need travel back. And especially being in the hotel industry, it's definitely affected us a great deal. But that's a little of my story, and it's been a lot of bumpy roads, and but I'm thankful for people like you, to always give advice when I need it, and other teachers and coaches and people that wiser people than myself that I've really relied on over the years, and really helped me to mold me into the man I am today.
So with everything that has happened, and there's a lot, right? I mean, yeah. I think being a junior in high school to having that accident, and then having to really start working and supporting your family, mm-hmm. and your mom's illness, and then taking on this tremendous job. I'm so proud of you. I see leadership as a privilege. I think that it's such an honor to be able to lead people. And I'm really proud of the way that you take care of your workers. And in your posts, this is how we got reconnected, right? And, some of your posts about, what leaving tips for housekeeping and how important it is to take care of the people that are taking care of you. And also being married, not having a job it's a lot. So my initial question to you is, how are you? And how are you in your heart and your spirit? right now? And then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was tough in the beginning of COVID. Um, the anxiety was definitely out the roof, and being growing up in
Talk just a little bit about that. So, like, what you
yeah.
mean by anxiety and how that impacts you.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is, I feel that we grow up, especially men. I feel like anxiety is such a like, you're fine, you'll be okay, just suck it up, throw some dirt on it, type of mentality. And I've struggled with anxiety my entire life. Well, not entire life. I will say, as an adult, when I had those stomach aches before tests, and certain when I didn't want to go to school because of certain tests or assignments or presentations. It wasn't my stomach that I was having issues with. I've noticed now that I was having anxiety even back then that I didn't realize. But my anxiety actually got worse as after that car accident. When they kind of told me you could have died, and people told my mom actually that when she arrived to the scene that there was some fatalities. I mean, she went crazy. And so just hearing those stories after getting out of the hospital was kind of an eye-opener to me. It was like your life can be taken at any time, and I'm such a control freak of I need to know what's going to happen. And so a lot of my anxiety comes from the unknown. And I'm so comfortable talking about anxiety to people because I know how it feels to not be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And people think, well, if you have anxiety, you're crazy. You're not crazy. It's a common thing that happens to everybody. And it's funny, the if you ever have a conversation, in my experience, if you have a conversation in public and you mention the word anxiety, a lot of heads turn, because I feel that they also feel like, he has anxiety as well. It's like it opens kind of that door of letting them express themselves. And yeah, the anxiety in the beginning was really bad. I haven't not worked since I was 15 years old. It's been, I wasn't full time back then, but I was working 3-4 days a week, 6-hour shifts. And school. Yeah, I would leave. I actually changed my senior year. I changed my fourth period to unscheduled just so I can go to work. So I would leave at lunch to go to work at the hotel because my shift started at 2:00, and lunch used to end like at 1:15. So I had to go home, change, and kid from South San Diego, I had to wear a suit to work. So I had to make sure I ironed it and it looked good. My boss, she would make me take off my coat jacket just to make sure my undershirt was ironed. So it was a lot of learning during that transition. So, now not being able to work and have that steady income, and even though we had money saved, and, there was the CARE Act and COVID relief programs, even with all of that, it was hard. It was, I'm starting a new marriage on my wife supporting me. I was a proud stay-at-home husband. I was cooking, I was cleaning. I mean, I was doing everything. I was trying to stay busy, keep her comfortable, because I know she's taking care of us, and there was never, any issues with the money. She was always asking me, are we good? And me being a man, I'm trying to get away from it, but me being a man saying, we're fine. Even though there were some times where the bank account looked a little like, okay, are we going to make it even with our savings? Like what's going to happen here? And that's really when I kind of, started thinking about renting the RVs out, because the anxiety levels were just out the roof. Even to the point where I almost started looking at getting therapy for it, because I just couldn't control it. Being at work, I realized was my scapegoat. I work at I'm in a position where I'm working 24 hours a day, no matter what. I'm always on call. They're calling me for every single issue, mistake, guest complaint, everything you can think of with when you manage a business that never closes, unfortunately you're always on call. So I realized when I'm sitting at home the first week, my mind is not busy on things. So now it's just racing. What if we don't make it? What if this happens? On top of, there's a deadly virus that's killing people.
Right.
So it's I did a lot of, I love that you did the breathing exercise before you started, because that's something that I actually open my days with, especially when I wake up, and try to do it before I go to bed, just to, again, just clear my mind, make my body feel good, my soul feel good, because it's anxiety can cripple you, make you feel things that don't even exist. It's mental, but it's also physical. And thankfully, we were able to stay afloat and start a business, and now I'm working again. I'm just extremely thankful for it.
I would say within the last year and a half, almost 2 years, was diagnosed with anxiety. And so very much had a very similar experience. And part of it was just that, and, thinking back, when I was a little kid, I would start crying out of nowhere at the thought that my mom would die. My mother was not sick. But it was kind of like, like families were just like, you're fine. Like,
yeah.
Like, you push it away.
I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, it has been, and so very recently, I actually have been, I realized that I have panic attacks.
Yeah.
And I legit feel like I am dying.
Yes. Yeah.
I legit, like, I have gone to the hospital because I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. And then I get into like WebMD. I diagnosed myself with diabetes. And so realizing what it is has been very helpful for me, because so it's an acceptance. And I will tell you, once I got all of my health stuff and I realized that, so yes, I'm overweight, but I don't have, like, my blood sugars could be better, but I do not have type 2 diabetes. I do not have type 1 diabetes. I have a little bit of, my blood pressure, so a little bit, but other than that, my cholesterol, like all of my health is good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to do the same thing, because you kind of feel it in your chest first, and it's like, what was that? And then it just kind of hits you like a ball of fear.
I have murmurs.
Yeah. It was, everything that you could feel and go through during a panic or an anxiety attack, I literally felt those first couple of weeks during, and again, it was just because I realized work was my scapegoat. Like, that's what keeps my mind busy. And because I was sitting at home, not doing anything.
That was your coping technique. You coped.
Yes, it was my coping mechanism. It was my comfort blanket, everything, So then I started just keeping myself busy, and it definitely helped. But, I'm thankful that I'm not a big, like, I want to buy things. I want all the brand stuff. I became kind of a minimalist a couple years ago. And so I don't have a car payment. I just have my mortgage. My mortgage and a few credit cards, so I'm thankful that, it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse, and I'm just thankful that we made it out, no pink slips, that we were all used to getting as kids, like, Mom, Dad, what are these pink slips? The lights stayed on, the mortgage was paid, food was on the table, and people around me stayed healthy. That's what was most important.
And so the way that you've been dealing with it and working on your anxiety, so I think it sounds like the acknowledgement, working through your own family stuff, your own thing with being a man. So you've worked through some of that stuff. You do breathing techniques. What are some of the other things that you do to help you with your anxiety? I think partially, I'm just going to guess, talking about it is helping.
It's I think that's the biggest thing. I think talking about it with other people definitely helps you feel more normal. And I hate saying normal, but it just makes you feel like, all right, I'm not the only one, and it kind of goes back to, kind of the movement a few years ago when, like, Kevin Love, one of the NBA players who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, he came out and started talking about anxiety. And honestly, when he came out, that's when I was really like, you know what, dude, if this dude who's making millions for playing basketball, like, is having anxiety, like, there's no reason. And I read his, his article, and I watched all the videos and everything he's talking about, and I'm just like, man, this is normal. The normal is feeling like this. That's fine. It's the normal is not feeling like this. You create your normal. And I think that's what really helped me. And I mean, sometimes I talk about it too much, because I try to talk myself out of it. I try to talk out the situation. My wife has done a great job of kind of comforting me when I'm going through a situation and talking through it. I feel like that's a big reason why her and I dated in high school, and then we kind of separated after that, and then got back together later on in life as adults. And our adult relationship from our kid relationship are two different spectrums. And back then it was that puppy love. I love you, and I want to talk to you every second. To where now our adult relationship, I feel like she helps. She is good for my mental health. You know what I mean? Like she knows how to talk me out of things. She knows how to talk me through things. And I'm seeing all through social media people breaking up and divorcing and going through that. And I feel like COVID actually brought us closer. Because it was like we were able to talk, our really true feelings. Like you talk as a couple, but this pandemic really makes you like bring out the deep stuff, the stuff that you probably don't talk about a lot, like what if we catch it? What if one of us passes away? What I mean? I mean, those conversations had to be had in the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, there was nothing, there was the unknown. So I think talking about it has helped me tremendously. And that's why I even considered maybe going to a therapist, maybe somebody that that's their profession can actually help me through it. And when I went to one when I first got out of that car accident, just because I couldn't even sit in a car after that without getting a panic attack.
Yeah.
And anytime I even heard, even if it was a video game, if I heard tires screech, I would almost faint, So I went to one, but I remember I went to 2 sessions, and I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm fine. And I like told myself that I was fine. And then I didn't have anxiety for 10, 12 years until this pandemic, started, coming around, and you're affected financially, and you're affected mentally and physically,
you talked about is in those years you were working all the time.
Yeah.
So if it came up, you hyper focused on something else. And in an industry of people, so like I was, became a school leader in an industry of people. When you legit, like you said, you're working all the time, you can just go from one thing to the work is never done.
Never. And we never close.
Yeah.
It's like we're open holidays, we're open, 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours, So it was definitely like and because I stepped into an executive level at such a young age.
You were 22? You were 22?
22, yeah, 22. And it just kind of just kept me so busy because I wanted to prove myself. I mean, I was the only kid in all these meetings with no gray hairs. It was like, it was intimidating at first too. So I had to I wanted to prove myself. I studied harder. I decided to go to school and get, my degrees in hospitality and business. I didn't want somebody to just think, oh, this is just some kid. I wanted to, really prove myself, so that's, I think during those years, the anxiety came back, because I didn't have, again, that scapegoat, that comfort blanket, that coping mechanism,
Mm-hmm. I think the piece that I was really connecting to also was just that time with your family and COVID, like that time with your wife, this COVID time, because you probably have not had that kind of intensive time at home together.
No.
And so in that intensive time together, you start to see things, you observe things, like you get to know them in such a different way. Because you're legit together, like you were at work 24 hours a day, 7 days.
Yeah.
now you're with your family, and the beauty and the blessing that you chose, that both of you chose the partner that you were able to connect more and go in deeper. And
Yeah.
you didn't choose, that's because of the choice that both of you made in each other. And I think that that's really, really beautiful. Um, and I will tell you that I also, the same thing here, like I realized, like I've always known that I have a great husband, but I was just like, wow, like we don't have the things like you were saying on social media of people, kind of like talking badly about their spouse,
Yeah. Yeah.
wanting to escape their family,
Yeah.
wanting to like legit,
Yeah.
but also really pushed because of this time. I am in therapy, and I'm going through my stuff. So like this time has really got me doing deep work, which is
Yeah.
bringing up things that I've never even talked to him about.
Mm-hmm.
And so that and the way that he has responded to that in such a loving, supportive way.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that we like I won the lotto when it came to my spouse. But
Yeah. Yeah.
again, it's who we chose and who chose us, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I think that, that alone, I think, is what really, helped through this, this 6 7 months of being, in our house, and we both, have had people affected, and even people pass away from it. And every I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've been perfect throughout this quarantine, but there's been days that I'm like, you know what? Let's get out, let's go do something, let's go at least have lunch somewhere, and then somebody close to us gets it, and it's just like almost the universe reminds us, like, hey, you don't get to choose what happens, this thing chooses you, and it's always a reminder. And some people have gotten it bad around us, and it's horrible to see them in the condition they are, and then some of them are not affected at all. But I personally, don't want to take that risk, and I've been called out for it. I've even had people, tell me, like, dude, people look up to you, why are you, lashing out or talking about this and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, you're probably not somebody that I need in my life right now. I care about people.
Yep.
I don't care about material things or my vacations or money. I'm going to choose human life over any materialistic vacation, money, anything. I don't care. I'm going to do what I have to do to keep the people that I care about safe, and people that I don't know safe.
Yeah.
And because at the same time, I am affected by it. I lost my job. The travel industry, I mean, there's GMs reaching out to me now that are saying, hey, dude, I'll just do front desk, I don't care. That's how desperate people are right now to work. And it's because of the situation that's been created of not being able to get out. And then people are like, you know what, screw it. I went out once and I'm good now. So now let's just go out and let's go party and drink. And I'm looking at people like, oh my God, what is going on? So I definitely hit the jackpot with being able to stay at home with somebody that shared those same views with me. And again, she's kind of my comfort blanket. I'm able to bounce things off of her, and I never feel like I can't tell her anything, and you're right. You're kind of forced to have these conversations because it wasn't like we got a break from each other, like, and you never think about that. Like, oh, dang, I go to work 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
and it gives me time to miss you. Now, like, we're spending 24 hours a day. And yeah, it definitely, it's crazy to even think, because I've known her, 10 years of my life. And you learn things even, this late in the relationship. So I'm, again, I think we're both kind of blessed to be with people that kind of the yin to our yangs, and definitely happy with where I'm at right now, as far as our relationship during this process, or this pandemic, I'll say.
So tell me a little bit about how it was that you knew that you were prepared to accept this person that was presented to you. So yes, you were together in high school, but as an adult, how was it that you knew that, like, this person, you were ready for this person, and you
Yeah.
were also worthy, right, of
Yeah. Yeah.
this depth of a person?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, and we talk about this a lot. You know, I was single for I when we stopped dating, I didn't date any. Well, I dated, but I didn't date seriously anybody for about 4 years, and I just remember like the people that would be interested in me just weren't on the same wavelength as I was. You know, I feel like I did a lot of things young. And I mean, I was done. I was past the party stage. I was into a career that I was focused on. You know, I had to uphold an image at a very young age because I was an executive at a, you know, multi-million dollar business. So finding somebody that, you know, wouldn't look at that side and rather look at within and me as the person, and you know, that was hard, you know, because it was easy because of the status and the, you know, title and the background and the traveling, and you know, it
Right.
might look like my
Mhm.
social media is all, you know, perfect and great life, but it took a lot to get to those, you know. And there's a Michael Jordan commercial where he says, I'm sorry that I made it look easy, you know.
Mhm.
And one of my things that I want to take into the future is sharing failures, because we all share the good things of relationships, of vacations, of jobs, of our lives. We never share the bad or the difficult or the challenging moments, you know. And that's what I didn't like, is I felt like people only wanted to either hang out with me or even, you know, on the relationship side, you know, date because of certain, you know, things that I was doing or titles that I had. And
Mhm.
where with my wife, like we've known each other since we were kids. I mean, she loved me when I was dirt poor, you know what I mean? And that never, you know, caught her attention, the titles and the this and the that. You know what I mean? At least that's what she makes me feel. And that's when, you know, when we started talking again, I kind of ran into her mom and just started talking. And you know, I was like, I'm gonna, you know, shoot in the dark, just say a hi, you know. And we just started texting. And again, child her would basically be up for anything that I wanted to do. Hey, let's go here. Cool. I'm in. You know, where now adult her is like, no, Ricardo, I don't want to have lunch with you. I'm like, what? What do you mean you don't want to have lunch with me? You know? So it was a kind of a nice, you know, it was kind of nice kind of falling back in love, but with different people, you know, because we're adults now. You know, we broke up, you know, in our early 20s, and then now we're dating again, you know, in our late 20s, you know. And well, her in her teens, me in my 20s. And you know, so it was different people and learning each other again. And once we clicked as adults and the child relationship was completely out of the picture, you know,
Mhm.
no more drama, no more, you know, all the social media stuff, you know. Once that was out of the picture, I'm like, oh, I'm not letting her go this time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like this is I've always pictured my life with her. And that was the hard thing about dating as well. If I was talking to somebody, I would look at those things. You know, I'm looking at, all right, well, you know, you know, your career trajectory, like where are you trying to go? What do you want to do with your life? You know, do you want kids? Do you want? I mean, I'm looking at the big picture. And when we got back together, that's when I just realized, you know, she just has a good heart and she's just a good, genuine person, and that's what was hard for me to find. You
Yeah.
know, and that's when I just realized, like, I remember like the day it was on her birth. She let me take her out for dinner for her birthday, and we talked all night. I mean, it was like we were kids again. We were on the phones, you know, talking all night. But this time, you know, we're adults sitting at a restaurant having wine, and I mean, it was just a cool experience. And and I just told myself that night, I'm marrying her. I don't care. I'm not gonna let this go, because I don't want to go back to. She loves me for me, you know, for the person, not
Right.
for the title and the traveling and the, you know, all that extra stuff that people would bring up when talking to me. Nobody, you know, a lot of people would talk to me, and you know, some will say, hey, Rick, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And then there was other people that are like, oh, Mr. GM, but, you know, it's kind of like it was like a backhanded compliment. You know, some people would call me, hey, suit, you wearing a suit now, Rick? You know, and it was like, not like, dude, I'm proud of you, or hey, man, you left the hood and did something with your life. You know, it was always like, oh, you think you're bad? You think you're cool? You know, you want a cookie? You know, it's like you hear those things, and it's just kind of like, man, come on, dude. Like, I'm out here just trying to better myself, and I was always a person that if I made it, we all made it. You know, so I've helped tons of people get into the hotel industry and work, and it just, you know, I just feel like my life is just came together, and it started when, you know, I moved back to California, and, you know, I got back, you know, into, you know, conversations with her, and that's just, I just knew that night, you know, after a couple months of just hanging out here and there, and then that one night at dinner, and I was just like, I'm gonna marry this girl. I can't, you know, I should have done it, you know, 5 years ago, and I didn't. And
Yeah, but I think, but it it wasn't right because
it wasn't. No, absolutely not. I think us as kids would have never worked. You know,
yeah,
we needed to grow up as adults, and even, you know, even myself, I think I grew up in those 4 years. I think I grew up tremendously, and I thought I was the most mature person ever. And, you know, because I'm always around adults and people 20, 30 years older than me. But no, I mean, I had a lot of growing up to do, and living by myself in a whole different state that
yeah,
I, you know, and Anchorage, Alaska, I loved it, but it was scary to live by yourself and not be able to drive 20 minutes to go to your mom's house. You know, I had to fly 11 hours to get home,
yeah,
you know, and I would try to fly home at least once every 3 months just to get like my Mexican food fix and, you know, see my family and hang out with friends. And, you know, but yeah, I agree. I think growing up and getting that experience to know who I am, you know, myself, and who I was as an adult, and also reteach myself how to love properly. You know what I mean? Because, you know, everybody has a love language, and I realized, you know what? I wasn't loving her in her love language. I was loving myself. I was loving her like I like to be loved. You know what I mean? But that's not how she liked to be loved. So when I figured that out, I was like, oh my goodness. If I ever get a chance again, like, one, I asked her to read the book that it's called Five Languages of Love. That's why I'm talking about it. And I was like, I'm gonna make sure she reads this book because she's like a big reader. And once we read that book, we just spoke to each other differently,
yeah.
and it just felt different, you know. And you know, our fights now are like, she's on my side of the bed, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like, scoot over. You know, we don't have those big fights anymore that we did as kids, you know,
Yeah.
because we were children, you know, acting like children, you know.
Well,
So very blessed.
right. I think part of what you were like what you're talking about, you both became your own people.
Yes,
And
yes.
really, like, it's you know, relationships are not 50-50. They're 100-100.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I don't want half of you. Like, I want all, and I will bring my all.
Yeah.
But I think I'm wondering also the impact that your parents and your family, all of your loved ones, and I know you adore I think you have what, 2 nephews now?
Three now.
So,
Yeah.
like, the impact of your family and the development into who you are now as a man.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a huge,
A human being, not just a man,
yes,
a human.
exactly. There we go. I love it. You know, we have a huge family, and I think it really starts, you know, at the top. My mom is the oldest of her family, of her siblings. I'm sorry, and she always makes sure that we do Christmas together, do Thanksgiving together, bring everybody, you know, to my nana's house, and, you know, and it also starts with my nana. My nana's like the Don Juana of the family, you know. She's kind of that anchor that holds all of us down, you know. And my mom kind of took on that responsibility in her family to just, you know, she's the one always cooking, she's the one always making sure, you know, everybody has food, and doing the 7 Thanksgiving turkeys and cooking for, for Christmas, and and I think it's hard for her this year because, she's still thinking like maybe we could do something outdoors. Mom, you're not going to fit 45 people in the outdoors. We just can't do it, and I think that's tough for her. And, my Nana's getting older, and, and her health is declining, and it's tough, I think, for all of us. But I would not ever forgive myself if one of us gave it to my Nana, and that's tough, especially we've done this our entire life. So I think family plays a huge part. And my mom and dad have been married for 40 years. So going back to those years where I was single, I wasn't looking for somebody for those moments. It was like, I'm going to be with you forever because that's what I'm used to. My parents have been together married 40 years, and everybody else in my family, all my tias and tios, they all kind of were high school sweethearts and just, raised families together. And me and my cousins are all super close. So that I mean, family is just like a huge thing to me. And when at the same time when I took on my first property as a GM, my first nephew was born, and I didn't think it was going to affect me. I just was thinking like, I love the kid. He's my brother's kid.
Is your older brother or younger brother?
My older brother. Yeah. It's only me and my brother. He's older. I'm the younger one. And he had, his first kid. And I swear you'd think that I had the kid because that as soon as I held him, I just thought to myself, whoa, like this is a life. Like I'm not just, a role model to this kid, but I'm going to be, his second dad, in a sense to where like, if his dad isn't there, I'm there, and I had to change my entire mentality. And, it even, and what really was what the changing, like kind of the turn point for me was, I remember doing my insurance for the first time as an adult. I finally got to get my own insurance, and I'm filling out my life insurance, and it asked, who do you want to leave, your life policy to? And I'm thinking, well, I don't really have any. My mom will know because unfortunately my mom will probably pass away before I do. But, who? Oh, Justin. Yeah, no brainer. And I just remember after I was done writing his name, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, dude, this is just such a bigger picture. Like this kid means so much more to me than I even thought he would as a baby. So, now that they have 3 kids, it's tripled, and I love all of them to death as if they're my kids. But I have to set an example to them as well, and I think that's one thing that, our family, it's kind of weird. Like we love each other. It's a family of men. So, we don't tell each other we love each other, but we know we love each other, So if my brother ever needs anything, he don't even ask me, and I don't even tell him. I'll send him whatever the kids need, or, I'll buy my nephew's things without them asking, or I'll volunteer myself for things without them even saying, oh, I guess, because I get it from my mom. My mom will give you the shirt off her back in the rain if it's somebody she cares about. That's just the person she is. Even if you screwed her over, she's going to give you the shirt off her back 5 more times. And that's just something that was instilled in me is, I'm going to help my family. They're my why. I do what I do because of them. I don't, we all went through a hard time during that recession in 2007, 2008. And again, I don't blame my parents at all, but we lost everything, and I just remember telling myself, I will never, from this point forward, I will never have my family in this position again, and that's really what drove me, and then my brother had a kid, and it was like, whoa, like the fire relit, under me, and just got larger. And it just really, I think, helped me, when days were tough at work. The family side is what really was like, keep going, remember your why, and why you're doing what you're doing. And it was just it was everything I needed to get me through some of the hardest times in our life.
I cannot even begin to imagine how proud your family is of you.
I mean,
Also,
I just hope, my mom always says, I don't care if you're working at McDonald's. I don't care if you're doing this or doing that. I just want to raise good humans, and that's what I hope that she can feel, on a daily basis. I hope that I can just say, and she tells me that she's proud of me. But I think that being able to, even when I won this award for the Hotel Magazine, one of the questions was, they're like, why do you want to win? I said, I just want to give my mom the plaque. That's why.
hmm.
That's it. I'm getting a little teary eyed thinking about it. I want to hand it to her. I want to give it to her and say, we did this, because they were always telling her, Ricky's going to be this, he's going to end up in jail and get girls pregnant. And, they'd make her cry over it because I was just such an outgoing person, and an outgoing kid. My mom was super strict. And, when you're strict on an outgoing kid, they're going to want to do more. You tell them, no, don't press that red button. I'm going to go head first into it, and now I just, that was a big win for us. Me and my mom was, as much bad things that people told her about me. And they share with me now as an adult what a lot of people close to us would say about me. And I'm just like, wow, that's shocking. I don't blame them because I was a punk. I'm not gonna sit here and say I was an angel because I wasn't. You kind of remember, uh, and I'm just happy that I was able to give my mom that 30 under 30 hospitality professional plaque and say, we did this. I didn't do it. You made me who I am. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good things, that I learned from, my parents and the adults around me, but there's also a lot of things that, they taught me not to do, what I mean? And because they didn't have that education, what I mean? They didn't have.
Oh, I don't know what happened. His maybe his internet went out. Oh, so we were almost getting ready to close. One of the things that I was thinking as he was talking about that award, and I put the link of the award in the announcement for the show, was that what I loved about the announcement that was made, and I think it was on page 8, is he talked about um, how people needed to have a better wage in the hotel industry, and that to me is something. Here he is. He's back. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Yeah, it kicked me.
I don't know why you got kicked out,
Yeah.
but I think the award is beautiful. But what really got me, Rick, is that the way that, I think it was a question around like, what's a problem that you think needs to be fixed in the hotel industry? And you talked about the wages for your workers. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was such a brave thing to do. And I think it was in 2016 that you got the award. But
Yeah.
like it's a business and it's about profit and it's not
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily taking care of your people.
Yeah.
And as a mom, I'm going to tell you that was even more meaningful than any award. Is
Yeah.
that, like
Yeah.
your mom said, she wanted to raise you as a good human being, and that is absolutely who you are.
I appreciate that. And I think that's, it's such a huge thing that, I think gets overlooked. A lot of people don't realize what goes into managing a hotel. It's not just, welcome, here's your key, go to your room. There's a lot of moving parts that people don't understand. And a lot of these ladies that are cleaning these rooms are making minimum wage. And the worst part about it is every business does it, is even when minimum wage goes up, year over year, if one of them was making like $13.99 and the minimum wage went to $14 because of their seniority, they were higher already than the minimum wage. They go to $14. They don't go to $14.99. And it's just
Difference, whatever that difference.
yeah, so it's always been hard, and it's hard to retain good employees as well. And that's just you take care of the employees, they take care of the business, and then the business thrives. And that's something actually Mr. Marriott kind of himself kind of quoted a long time ago and just always stuck with me. That you take care of the people take care of the guests take care of the business thrives.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that I always fight for, and especially being, I was the first Latino GM at that hotel. So,
Wow.
the housekeepers, first day were like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They all came in and started telling me, all their problems and what they think need to be fixed and, this, that, and this. So that was also great. So I was able to connect with them in that aspect of, man, they are getting underpaid. You've been here 25 years and you're making $14. Like that's insane to me, and it wasn't just that hotel. It's been every hotel I've ever worked at. And the line level employees that are in the trenches, they're underpaid, and if I could take a pay cut to give them more money, I would do it, because I need them more than the business needs me at the end of the day. And that's just something that I've always fought for, especially during budget season. When I'm doing budgets, I always try to slide in some extra money where we can pay people. And like you said, you've seen my videos of, housekeeping week, and, I probably overdo it, but I want to make sure that these ladies know that they're the backbone of that hotel, and they're the ones who make that hotel operate. You know what I mean? Without them, there is no hotel. And most of them are of Latina descent, or they're, a minority, and some of them don't have a lot of education or English skills. So, I try to help wherever I can. And if that's in their pockets or their education, I've paid, and I love this about our company. We pay for their Rosetta Stone if they want to learn English, and we've done that for plenty of employees. Marriott actually launched earlier this year, free Rosetta Stone if you're an employee with Marriott. So that's kind of a cool thing as well. Now we don't pay. We pay for it on the back end. Marriott charges us later, but it's at a huge discount. So yeah, I'm all about the people, all about taking care of them, and just trying to help them get a better life. And my biggest struggle coming up also was, because I was young, nobody ever wanted to take a chance on me or help me learn. There's just a handful of people took a chance on me, and that's why I'm at where I'm at today. And but I also didn't take advantage of that. If they helped me, I made sure I made them look good. I wasn't going to ask for a handout and not make them look good. So when I see that in people, I know a lot of older generations are like, no, you make them work for it, you make them earn it, and I'm like, why can't I give them the shortcut?
Well, I think part of it also is just being able to elevate other people, and and who you are is not just about yourself. I cannot again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
If you and your wife would like to come on together, I'd love to have you come on and talk about being newlyweds. Yeah. So I'll follow up with an email and let you know. But it's such an
She's a lot shyer than I am. A lot of people talking. Everybody asks me, hey, you got to bring Martha on next time. And I'm like, she's going to sit here and be extremely nervous, but I'll try.
Well, show her your episode. We'll get her talking. Yeah. I'm very grateful to have been on this journey with you.
No, thank you. And, if I could say one last thing, it's teachers and educators like you that, you talked about a light in the beginning of this show, and you were able to see that when I didn't, and you told me a lot. You can be a leader, kid. You can be. I just always remember you telling me leader, and it never stuck. It never stuck until I kind of got older, and I started realizing other teachers would say that too. Hey, people look up to you, man, and I just never understood it. And I'm glad that, you didn't give up on me. I'm glad that these other teachers and mentors didn't give up on me. And I'm grateful to have you in my life. I really am. I know it's only been through social media for a while, but
I'm here. Whatever you need here.
Yeah, since you have been, it's always just positive, and it's always a pick me up, and your smile is always contagious. And I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you so much for being with me tonight. And as a reminder to everybody, so talk to Martha, because I'd love to have you guys on. But as a reminder, Dr. Anjali will be with you on Friday, so please make sure to watch. Thank you for being with us tonight. Please know that you are loved and you are prayed for. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.